Welcome to my channel, Inspiring China, where I like to share my thoughts about some popular C-dramas as a local Chinese audience. Today, I'd like to talk about Modern Marriage, which was released in this February, played by Bai Baihe, Tong Dawei, Jiang Jing, Gao Ye, and some other familiar faces. The drama has 38 episodes and 45 minutes for each. It talks about females, especially young moms' marriages, and the working environment in the current Chinese society. Ren Huixing and Sheng Jiachuan went to the same university and both studied finance. After graduation, Shen Huixing found herself pregnant and chose to be a full-time mom to look after their daughter. Sheng Jiachuan, on the other hand, put all his heart into his career in a venture capital company as an investor and gradually made a good reputation and a promising future in this industry. When their daughter turned 6 years old, Shen Huixing believed that this is a good time for her to return to the workforce. However, this idea was strongly opposed by her husband. Shen Jiachuan was pretty spoiled in the past 6 years. He relied on his wife entirely for all the housework and childcare. For something like buying an apartment, renovation, and relocation, he didn't even lend a hand to his poor wife. He couldn't even remember which level they lived in when he came back to his new home for the first time. He only verbally supports his wife, but secretly plays tricks with his colleagues to pretending working with clients to avoid any father's duties. Under the facade of a perfect husband, deeply in his heart, he doesn't respect the time and the stamina that his wife put into the family and their child. When they moved to the new home, which represents his success, while he was drunk and got carried away, he accidentally spit out his real thoughts that he was the only person contributing to the family's wealth for the past 6 years. Luckily, Shen Huixing is a strong, direct, and independent woman. She believes that in this relationship they are equal. Although she chose to stay at home in the first place, Sheng Jiachuan doesn't have the right to demand her continue to be a full-time housewife. She says this equal relationship so important that she's willing to give up her marriage if Sheng Jiachuan doesn't change his attitude toward their relationship. She eventually found a job in another venture capital company, starting from the bottom. In a working environment that can be considered to be mean to women, she struggled, worried, and even crashed sometimes. She still held her ground firmly and eventually tasted the fulfillment from working. I love her personality. She's very direct, rational, and sometimes quirky. Thanks to her personality, she was able to ruthlessly rip off Sheng Jiachuan's perfect husband's facade and pinpoint the fact that Sheng Jiachuan's selfish thoughts, double standard, and absence in the family affairs and childcare. By comparison with Shen Huixing, Jiang Jing is also a full-time mom. She doesn't have an ambition for a career and found her comfort zone just staying at home and looking after her child. She doesn't require an equal relationship in her marriage, and she believes that if she can treat her husband like her boss and be obedient, her marriage will be stable. She's okay with her husband always on business trips. She doesn't ask what her husband does, how much he makes, and how many assets he owns. When she found that her husband constantly had affairs with different women and eventually requested divorce, she suddenly realized that from day one of her marriage, her husband had already fully prepared for divorce. He had transferred all his assets out of his name, and she can't get a penny from her marriage. Dong Sijia is a successful woman. She was proud of not having any leaves during her entire career except on the day of her giving birth. She's the female version of Sheng Jiachuan, relying on her husband to look after their son full-time. Even though the stressful work still makes her anxious all the time. She has to use alcohol to calm herself and then become an alcoholic in the end. On one hand, she wants her husband to continue to look after their son. On the other hand, she's ashamed to mention her husband to her colleagues. Deep down, she still wants a financially strong husband and doesn't respect the sacrifice that her husband made to the family. She's okay with her husband finding a job, but the job must sound decent, provide a good salary, and not require business trips. She put some strings to put her husband in a company and forced him to work in an environment that didn't suit him at all. Her husband couldn't bear her autocracy and finally requested divorce. This drama also talked about some other side issues in the society, such as the gold diggers, overtime culture, criticisms faced by a single woman turned 30, etc. Overall, this drama talks about a topic that if a highly educated woman should be a full-time mom or not. It presented to the audiences the unfriendly working environment for women and the general perception of a patriarchal society toward full-time and working moms. The value of full-time moms still wasn't recognized by the society. They also need to bear the prejudice and unfair judgment by the family members. Working moms are morally required to be the main person to look after children and sacrifice to the family. How to juggle between child raising and work has become the ultimate question for working moms. The downside of this drama is that it is still set in an elite and highly educated environment, where with only one income, there are no big impacts on the living standard of the family and children's education. However, it doesn't represent the majority. The structure imposed by the society on working moms could be expanded wider and deeper. There are also some unnecessary characters, such as the gold digger, that they always give her part. The drama falls to the happy ending road, in which everyone realized the importance of family responsibilities, and living happily after is also a cliche and lame. Having said that, this is a fine drama that I strongly recommend despite some of the flaws mentioned here. Thanks for watching. See you next time.